Hello everybody, my name is Matt Wellens. Today I just wanted to go through the journal entries for my playthrough of Life is Strange episode 4. So although this episode was by far the longest in terms of playtime, the journal doesn't seem all that much longer. So here we are, we're gonna read it, and I'll try to point out some of the things that I found interesting, I guess. I'll read it in full, but do feel free to skip around the video or pause it anywhere if you would like to read it yourself, blah blah blah. Okay, let's see. October 10th. Dear Diary, let's never do the time warp again. I can't even begin to explain what happened. If I think too hard about the ramifications, my brain might melt. When I try to describe it, it's as if I'm trying to describe something that happened to someone else. Chloe was so upset when we discovered that Rachel had actually been involved with Frank Bowers, and she just blew up. I can never talk to her when she's like this, and I just get so tired of having to walk on eggshells around her emotions. She still blames William for her messed up life, no matter how much she knows she's being unfair. I can't say that I wouldn't be just as messed up, not that I'm not in my own way. In my room, all I could think was, I wish I could go back in time and help Chloe. And suddenly, I was looking at the photograph William had taken of us on the day he died. And it started pulsing, like it was 3D, like I could see inside the photograph. Then I found myself actually back in the photo, to when I was 13 years old. I was back in Chloe's kitchen in the year 2008. So this page is actually episode 3, the very end. Yeah, it talks about the photograph here. Throughout the whole episode 4, we got no explanation for why we were able to, look into photographs and travel back now, or why in episode 2 we could freeze time and now we couldn't do it again. Hopefully that gets explained in episode 5. Anyways, with Chloe and William. Right before he left to pick up Joyce for the last time. Since my powers somehow morphed to this new level of rewind, I decided that there was no way I was going to let William die again. So I played hide the keys until he had no other option but to take the bus. I was so happy I actually saved William. I never thought about what could go wrong. I knew I was screwed when I came out of my epic rewind and saw Victoria chase. But now she was my friend, and I was a member of the Vortex Club. Enough said. I knew I had screwed up, and then I felt sick thinking about what might have changed with Chloe. I had a clue when I saw David Madsen driving the school bus. He sure didn't look so threatening anymore. I didn't want to know how he ended up as a bus driver instead of with Joyce. I felt my heart drop when I rushed to Chloe's house, so when William opened the door, I prepared myself for the worst. That's when Chloe rolled forward in her wheelchair, paralyzed from the neck down. I didn't even know what to say, so I covered my mouth in my typical gesture of shock and stupid. But Chloe's smile was so genuine and beautiful, I almost cried. I had to adjust to everything without freaking out, or telling Chloe that I actually altered time and space to save her father, but get her in a car accident so she can never walk again. The thing is, she was still Chloe, just minus all the rage. This Chloe was just as grateful to be alive and have her family watching over her. So previously I thought that maybe our Max got the memories of the alternate Max when she came over or something, but it seems like she was just bluffing the whole time, pretending to know what was up. But yeah, Chloe was still the same, the foundation was the same, but without that horrible event happening to her. Seems like she mellowed out a little bit. Chloe begged me to spend the night. And, of course, I did. I noticed how run down parts of their home were compared to before. I saw the incredible, expensive equipment that Chloe now requires, including her new garage room. Sorry, David. Even though I felt awful and disconnected, Chloe was just so bubbly and excited to hang out with me again, especially since I flicked on her pretty hardcore after her accident. Even in an alternate universe, I'm a shitty friend. Chloe's world was so new and unique to me, especially her strength and kindness, and pain. She needed a whole pharmacy to get through the day. I didn't feel sorry for her. I felt in awe with her attitude. This Chloe didn't blame anybody for her condition, even though she had the right. We strolled down the beach and saw the beached whales that proved something bad was happening in both realities. In episode 4, we mainly focused on getting information about the missing girls and the more realistic stuff, But still, we don't know anything about why whales are being beached, why are there 2 moons, why is there an eclipse, why is there snow in the summer, blah blah blah, or in the fall I mean. And then Chloe asked me to put her to sleep. The accident left her body pretty much broken. Her lungs stopped working properly, and she was basically dying a slow, painful death. She also felt guilty about her parents' sacrifice and dwindling income. She wasn't erratic or tortured about this request, just practical, which made me feel even more terrible for putting her in this situation. I agreed to help her, simply because she explained that she wanted to have a choice for the last time in her life. How could I argue with that? Especially since I knew I screwed up the entire universe by making a simple decision. And I knew I would have to go back eventually and accept the timeline that actually happened. So Chloe and I had one last movie night, watching Blade Runner, falling asleep to the sounds of Vangelis, and when I woke up, I put my best friend to sleep forever. After my visit to Chloe's new world, I knew it was time to go Max to the future. Ha ha ha. I had seen the result of my temporal tampering, and I got scared thinking my new power wouldn't even work anymore. That would have been cruel karma. Fortunately, I was able to project myself into the photograph once again, and I undid everything I had done. Goodbye, William, again. Hello, David, again. I've never been so glad to see Chloe in my life. The second I saw her blue hair and that beautiful pissed off face, I wanted to kiss her again. Okay, I don't care what anyone says here, but Pricefield is canon in my playthrough. How can you read it as any other way, okay? There's nothing platonic about this. You can say the initial kiss was platonic, but come on, writing in your journal that you want to kiss your best friend again? Come on, that's a bit. And I couldn't even tell her where I had been, or why. It would be one more thing to alienate Chloe from me and the world. I had to get refocused on our search for Rachel. Chloe had been busy with her detective work while I was in my alternate timeline. Of course, it was much easier for me to explore David's garage since Joyce booted his ass out. That made Chloe more content than I've just about seen her since I returned. I still feel kinda bad about David, but he overstepped his authority. Dismissed. And it's so much easier to grab David's X-Files when he's not here. After we gathered our new info like Halloween treats, I loved watching Chloe go into Sherlock mode while we examined all of our clues on our big old drawing board. Of course, we all know that she's more of a Dr. Watson, right? Elementary. Honestly, with all of the impending doom and sadness, I felt so happy just to find myself back in action with my best friend and her butterfly blue hair. Hella yes. Pricefield, man. Yup. But first things first, I really had to go and see Kate. I've never visited anybody in the hospital before, much less anybody who's tried to commit suicide, so I was happy Chloe wanted to come along for support. The antiseptic smell and the endless white halls always kind of weird me out. Or maybe I'm just projecting my own fear of mortality. Where else have we seen antiseptic smells and endless white halls, I wonder? God, the dark room. When I saw Kate in her room, surrounded by cards, flowers, and balloons, all I could think of was when I saw her the last time on the roof. Her face was so sad and sincere and helpless then, but now she had more life in her than I'd ever seen in a long time. I had no idea what to say to somebody in a situation like this. Hey, how are you after you almost jumped off a roof? But Kate's gentle spirit made it easy. I was overjoyed to see that she was drawing again and making plans for the future, including plans to get justice for what Nathan Prescott had done to her, or what I call revenge. So after getting the inside info and assist from the other members of our team, Chloe and I made our way to the boys' dorm room, aka Nathan's lair. Chloe stood guard out in the hall and I stealthed my way into Nathan's room. And even though I've become a master spy and detective, I still get surprised by things I see or find, like Nathan's sleek, expressionist bro cave. It was like walking from light into shadow in a single step. I swear I could feel the temperature drop the second I walked in. But then, Nathan knows photography, and he knows you have to keep the film and equipment chilled. I store my instant film hoard in Mr. Jefferson's classroom. Okay, well, given what we know about Mr. Jefferson, that's It's actually quite disturbing that, she basically has to go to that classroom and be like, hey, Mr. Jefferson, can I get my stuff from the room? Every time she wanted some new Polaroids or whatever. God. Speaking of cold stuff, Nathan's room was layered in creepy shit. The disturbing but impressive photos, all the evidence from his father's bullying, and probably the most important clue we could ever find, Nathan's phone, likely loaded with messages and mysteries. It's not a good thing that I've internalized spying and stealing so casually over the past week. Everyday hero, am I right? I'm surprised Max didn't talk about that photo she found about Chloe here. And that's when Nathan Prescott showed up. He looked so wild-eyed and out of control that I felt a twinge of sympathy that he clearly needed help. But then I remembered he was also an asshole and had been extremely dangerous to me, Chloe, and Kate. So before I had to rewind, Warren entered the scene and my white knight headbutted Nathan in perfect payback. I couldn't believe it. Neither could Nathan. In fact, Warren literally started to go ape all over Nathan's face. It wasn't cool, but my nerves were so frayed from the week, and I was so over all the Blackwell bullies that I almost didn't want to stop Warren from beating Nathan into the floor. Warren has his own issues to work out with Nathan, but this wasn't the time or place. Even if Nathan deserved it, and I would have been happy to watch Warren show him who was a Blackwell boss now. After that dorm brawl, Chloe and I headed to the beach to deal with Frank and see if we could get him to join us. I had to be careful and not get him all tweaked out. He was pretty pissed that someone had gotten into his RV and borrowed his account book, but once he saw that we didn't care about drugs or money, only Rachel, he mellowed out. All I could think was, I'm trying to get a drug dealer to help me find a missing girl. Incredibly, Frank actually agreed to help. He knows how naive and clueless we are, so I hope that our sincerity swayed him. I'm still unsure about him, and I can't be so naive to not keep my rewind guard up. I don't know much about him, except that he sells drugs, has a wicked temper, and that he loved Rachel. Even more than his beans. I swear Dontnod was reading all those memes on Tumblr and Twitter about how, Frank, I was eating those beans from episode 3. So, we get to add another member to our team. Booyah. Okay, so this line kind of implies to me that in episode 5, we might have some sort of thing going on that requires group effort. A few pages back, if you recall, we mentioned that we were scouting out for information from the other people in our team, which is basically Blackwell classmates like Justin and maybe Samuel, Miss Grant, those people. So it would be kind of cool. And whether that happens or not, I'm glad Frank is on our side. One more person on our side is one less person on the other side. My life feels so surreal at this point. I don't know how to react anymore. I can rewind time and space, but is it aging me before my own time and space? Am I learning things I shouldn't? Messing up too much shit, including my own history? Obviously, my nosebleeds and dizzy spells are a bad sign that I'm overusing my powers, but it's become almost part of my nature. Or maybe a habit. Power corrupts? Not yet, I hope. I remember this famous episode of the original Star Trek, where Kirk has to go back in time and let the person he loves die, so the Nazis won't win the war. What kind of fucked up choice is that? What would have happened if I had not been in that school bathroom to save Chloe that day? But damn it, I was there, and thus I was supposed to be there. Destiny. Oh, I really hope that's not foreshadowing, cause oh my god, it would kill me if I had to go back to that bathroom and watch Chloe die without doing anything. Oh my lord. Please, God, please don't do that to us. And the fact that we were able to convince Frank to actually help us gives the most hope I've had in a while. Yes, Chloe and I were stupid to confront Frank like that, considering how he reacted before, but I don't see how anyone could say he didn't really love Rachel Amber. He shouldn't have pulled a knife on Chloe though, and I don't like that he sells a lot of these dangerous meds to teenagers, especially Nathan. He needs psychiatric supervision, not baggies of pills. At least he won't be going to Frank again. Now this is completely unrelated, but I just realized now that Rachel Amber? I'm wondering if Amber, her last name, was named after Amber Alerts. You know, the alerts that go out when children go missing. I'm guessing so. Ooh, kinda eerie. I still don't know why Chloe or even Rachel would want to hang out with Frank, but I can't suss that out anymore. Maybe if I hadn't left town, I'd be less judgmental. But now, we have Nathan's phone, David's coordinates, and Frank's account book, and a big board of clues, which brings us closer to finding Rachel Amber, finally. So maybe the tide is finally turning. Or time is finally turning. This is the moment where all the clues come together, and we finally have a location outside of town that may lead us straight to Rachel Amber, and beyond. After everything that happened with Frank, I had to convince Chloe to keep going forward with me, since I do feel we're at the end of the road. Hopefully not the end of the world. But whatever anger Chloe has inside her that makes her so self-destructive is matched by her balls and bravery. Yes, Chloe has gotten me nearly killed, but I know she would die for me. And I can't forget that I put her in a wheelchair to slowly die in another reality. And Chloe is more focused now than ever. I told her we have to keep moving forward no matter what, and I couldn't find Rachel on my own. That was enough. Now, it's time to shine a light into the dark room. Chloe and I loaded up our coordinates and hit the road. We were both quiet, yet excited. It's hard to explain the feeling. Even with all of the horrible things happening, I found myself thinking that Chloe and I were part of some greater mystery that involved time, space, and all our fates. I've never had much faith, not the Kate Marsh kind anyway, but I couldn't believe we were being set up for doom after everything that's happened this week. But I wasn't prepared for the dark room. The coordinates led us to an old, abandoned farm owned by the Prescott family, and I shouldn't have been surprised that it was actually housing a weird secure bunker that was filled with Prescott memorabilia, and worse. If there was evil ground zero, this place was it. Cupboards filled with named red binders that confirmed our worst nightmares. Not that I even had any clue that our amateur detective work would lead us to this kind of professional hell. When I saw the binder marked Victoria, my heart started pounding like a jackhammer. Then I had a real clue about what was coming. I don't even want to think about the images we saw of Kate Marsh posed unconscious with that motherfucker, Nathan Prescott. She did know the truth about what happened to her, even if she couldn't remember all the awful details. And then Rachel Amber. Delicately composed photographs of her drugged and all over Nathan, like some kind of sick goth couple. I couldn't bear to look at Chloe's face as she looked at the photos of her abused angel. I felt nauseated. All the hope I was feeding Chloe felt like vapor. And then we saw exactly where Nathan had taken his vicious layout with poor Rachel, in the junkyard. So I was looking at this over here. What the hell is this drawing of? Now I know it's a fish, but why is she randomly drawing a fish? We finally found Rachel Amber, dead and buried. I'm sorry, Rachel. I'm sorry, Chloe. I'm sorry, Kate. And I'm sorry, William. Fuck you, Arcadia Bay. High school should be the best years of your life. I've heard that over and over from my parents and other experts. Fuck did they know? Tell that to Rachel Amber or Kate. I've never seen Chloe so cold and hard. She wouldn't let go of the gun. So we have to find Nathan before Chloe kills him, and if that happens, it will be hard to rewind. But we're as close to the end of this nightmare as possible, so I have to block out those images of Kate Marsh and Rachel Amber that will be burned into my retinas forever. There's still a final secret to uncover, and nothing is going to stop us now, not even a goddamn tornado. Chloe and I pulled up to Blackwell's parking lot and arrived at the end of the world party. Oh, the irony. We had to get rid of poor Warren Fast, who wanted to bask in his alpha glory and hang out with Chloe and me. I can't put another one of my friends in danger. So bizarro to see all of the students dressed up in expensive outfits or pre-Halloween costumes, talking and laughing and smoking and drinking, as if there wasn't a serial killer going to the same party, or the town wasn't in eco-danger. As if to remind me of Arcadia Bay's ticking doomsday clock, I actually saw 2 moons in the sky over the horizon, or that's what it looked like briefly before the clouds rolled over. I squinted and actually rubbed my eyes like a dork just to make sure my iris wasn't foggy. Was this another sign, or an environmental illusion? Other people saw it too, except Chloe didn't see anything besides vengeance, so she went into the gym looking for Nathan before I could catch up. Nathan doesn't know that he's running out of time too. No irony intended. We are. My first and last Vortex Club party. Flashing lights and DJ Doom, no comment, spinning. In an alternate reality, I might have been at this party, standing in the corner, shy and nervous, waiting for someone to ask me to dance, but being terrified if that happened. And that would have been the limits of my problems. Now, look at me. But I had to find Chloe first, then Nathan before she shot him. No matter how evil I thought Victoria was, she's actually just a terribly insecure person with talent, passion, and a tendency to be a cruel dick for no reason. I have to see beyond our petty mean girl drama and assume she has a role to play in all of this too. So we talked like human beings and I warned her, without specifics, about Nathan. She believed me, and it felt so warm to make a connection with my previous enemy. A sliver of light in all this darkness. Let there be more. And unfortunately, that's the last thing we wrote before we went to the junkyard and, you know, all that other crap happened. Oh, this might be the last time we get to read the journal. I'm not sure how much of it we'll get to read by the end of, you know, episode 5. But yep, hopefully that's all gonna end well. I'm probably gonna start my alternate playthroughs soon, and I probably have to start a few more just to catch all of the more interesting scenes. I'll look into the journals of those too, and if there's anything extra interesting, I'll be sure to point it out. But for now, I'll see you all in another place in another time. Bye!